Q&Asa.
Welcome to the world of Q&Asa. Bang on 9 o'clock. Here we go. This OST is a little bit loud. Let's just ease that down a bit. How's everyone doing today? How many weeks is episode 13 on? Very confusing. I don't know what's going on. Number of weeks of having a child. This is Q&Asa, where past, present and future of gaming all converge, and we talk about all of the gaming topics, everything that's going on at the moment, but mostly what we're playing and what's fun at the moment. I am alive and well. How are all of you? This music's too loud for me. Hold on, I need to turn it down. Okay, I'm here. I'm with it. I know what's going on. Kratos, I see you. Episode 13, Isla, Joe, Replicant, Peter Morland, of course. Episode 13, if I didn't already say that. Where am I? What's going on? I can't keep track. There's lots of pictures of pancakes everywhere and they all look adequate. Well, let's run over how the show works. And then, this is a useful reminder for myself because I seem to have forgotten. It's a conversational show. You say things in chat and I say things to you and you say things to me, you say things to each other, and we have a nice little back and forth conversation. That's how the show works and that's what makes it work. So please feel free to make yourself at home and have a good chat. If that's not adequate, you can't hear me in your brain. Very curious. Okay, if that's not adequate, you can also get involved in other ways. You can stick a question or anything you like in the YouTube Q&A box that's going to appear soon enough. You can stick anything in there. At the end of the show, we go over all of those one by one. I think everybody here knows all of this, but I'm going to run over it anyway, just in case. Option 3, there's Discord. If you want to show your face and or your voice to the world, jump into the Game On Daily Discord server, stick yourself in Waiting Room B, Waiting Room 2, or Waiting Room Knuckles, and I'll drag you in for a couple of minutes of chat to talk about whatever you want to talk about. Option 4, thank you for the reminder, episode 13. Last week we didn't really have a minimum super chat price, so we had a very low one, so compensate for that, make up for it. This week it is over 9,000. Why not? Over 9,000 is the price for a super chat. If you super chat over 9,000 or equivalent in your local currency, then I'll read your super chat aloud. And I got a feeling, no, 9,000 in nice UK sterling money is episode 13 or equivalent. Would I let you review the FNAF movie? I would let you review the movie. Yes, of course. Do we have any people that are familiar with the Five Nights at Freddy's games and or movie? Pazza, welcome along. How's it going? Piss off? What do you mean? That's I will if you're not careful, because I could do that. Evening Tom. 9,000 is getting close to a weekly shop. Yeah, it is gonna need that. You had a couple of games on Pool Blitz, a free-to-play game that dropped on the box. Finally a pool game where you can beat people, and allegedly free. You're not sure how long for, mind you. Well, Peter Morland, if you enjoy the pool games, and especially if you like to get mildly competitive with it, get your ass into virtual reality and do it properly. What are you doing playing pool on an Xbox? Bleh, vomit. Painful Discourse, welcome along as well. Tony has found option 5. If you are a Badger, if you sustained Badger membership for all of this time, then you can do things like Tony's just done and say, I would like to take the opportunity to say Asa, and then it goes onto a separate line and has another character that may be an I or it may not. And Joe says ... love the PSVR. Is this a combined effort? Are Tony and Joe working together? Am I supposed to read that as one? It's very confusing. Tony, are you secretly Joe? Joe, are you secretly Tony? I know we say that everybody's Tony, but this is just, you've blown my mind. Evening Nathan, how's it going? Isla, 4-month Badger. Whoa, this is the best show ever. This is not the best show ever. I'm not with it at all. It's been a cluster fuck so far. We're all Tony. We're on the hive mind. Okay, so I'll consider yours a run on from the sentence as well. Good. So let's get on with some game talk, shall we? What you all been playing? I have been playing Games. I have been playing Diablo 4. I got back onto, which you may have seen. I streamed it. I've not got through the whole of Diablo 4 because I didn't get along with it very much the first time. But after a big old break of a few months, jumping back onto the game, I like it a bit more now. I still feel like I'm validating my original criticisms of it because those do still apply. I do still have the same problems as I had before. But overall, I am enjoying it more. And it's got nothing to do with the new content or anything like that because I've not scratched the new content. I'm just not holding it up directly against Diablo 3 in quite the same way as I was. So I think I'll probably get bored of it again soon. But I'm going to play it a bit more, try and get through to the end of the campaign at least, and then maybe roll some other characters, do my seasonal hardcore, see if I can force the game to be more dynamic than it feels to me. Baldur's Gate, best game, even though you don't know how to spell it. Fair enough. It is a good game. Hard to refute that. Not many people would even try to dismiss it as a good game. Joe, you finished Spider-Man 2 and you're playing the house DLC of Dead Island 2. I've also finished Spider-Man 2. I've mostly written the script for a review that I think is going to turn out quite well. Because there's much to say about that one. Rocksmith as well. How long have you been doing Rocksmith? That's the one that teaches you real guitar, right? The Ubisoft thing. Tom, you've not been playing Starfield. Joe is your half-brother F. Interesting. I've not got back onto Starfield yet either. You stop till you get DLSS on it. Yeah, that's my theory too, Tony. Not so much DLSS, I don't overly need that, but I want the HDR fixes to go in. So I'm having a pause on that until it's ready. But you're still on Red Dead Redemption 2, Dead Space, and Overwatch 2. Starfield nomination for Game of the Year. I don't know, episode 13. If you're talking about the Keyless, mate, is it going to get a nomination there? I'd be surprised if it does. Just by virtue of like rankings by score or whatever else. Posh Vessel. You accidentally all evening sad face. That's not good. You've still got time to make up for it. You can smile now. Joe, you bought all 4 Shrine games. I thought there were 5 Shrine games now. The first one was supposed to be quite good, but I didn't hear positive things about sequels from that point on. Joe, you've still got Alan Wake and Robocop. I want Robocop. Like there's lots of hype around Alan Wake 2 at the moment, but I'm not quite feeling it. So I'll pick it up at some point because I want to see it, but I don't particularly want to play it. I just want to see it. Sonic, top chat. I'm not on top chat. Nathan, you've tried Warcraft Rumble. Is it good? I'm like mildly tempted, but only because fond memories of old Blizzard RTS games. And that looks... No, it's not Sonic R. Warcraft Rumble doesn't look awful, but it also does look awful. And it's a mobile game, so it's probably monetized horribly. Painful Discourse Platinum on Armored Core 6. Platinum. Is this an online ranking, or are you playing it on the PlayStation and getting trophies? And you started Liza P. You just came through the factory and beat the boss. You think it was the 3rd story boss. You're further than me then. I've not got to the 2nd story boss yet. It's awful. Warcraft Rumble is awful. That's sad. Is it the kind of awful where you're going to keep on playing it? What came first, Supersonic or Super Saiyan? Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan came first and Sonic copied it. But like amicably copied it. They were good buddies. But yes, it's not a coincidence that they look the same. It is very deliberate. Armored Core 6 on Xbox. Just easier to say platinum. So you've gone for all of the achievement points though, is what you're saying. And Xbox doesn't really have a overarching equivalent, does it? I haven't even got the platinum on... I know, Isla, I'm not reading those on purpose. Because you did this last time to ruin this OST last time it was on. So I'm letting other people have a go. What was I just going to say? I can't remember. It's not great. You've installed it still, but yeah, you won't. It's not going to be a daily thing. The latest Doom mobile game was better. See, the Doom one, I think maybe I'm completely imagining this, but can't you get the Doom one on Netflix and then it takes out all of the adverts and stuff and makes it a real game? Which is a weird collaboration, but I think it's Doom, Tomb Raider, and one other like mobile game that is part of Netflix that makes them more tempting. The OST last week was it was Destiny. It was Destiny 2, Lightfall, and something else. It was 2 particular expansions from Destiny 2. But yes, Joe, you're right. You were about to, but now you're too sad. What were you about to do and why are you sad? What game are you playing? This is your favourite show. You're not allowed to be sad. Oh, but you know the OST. You used the same process to figure it out last time I had it. I ran out of time today, so I've recycled an OST from previous months. Exactly. Get sad about all of the many things. No, don't get sad at all. Doom Raider would make a fun game. Twitch shooting with a curvy bum sounds ideal. Well, you wouldn't even see it if it was Twitch shooting, because that has to be first person perspective, so your bum would do you no favours. Painful Discourse, you loved Armored Core and you're a bit sad that it's probably going to be snubbed at the VGA Awards. Well, it might get in there. I don't know. I still haven't played it, but it's on my list of... in an ideal world, it's very unlikely to happen because time won't stand still. But I'd like to get through the kind of contenders for Game of the Year. I'd like to play them all, at least some, so that I have a fair idea of where they stand and how much I like them. But obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 I'm still playing through, and I've played a fair number of hours on that, so I can kind of at least have some semblance of an opinion on it. I'm trying to get through Diablo 4 at the moment. But I haven't played Remnant. I haven't got far enough into Starfield. I haven't played something Armored Core 6. Those are on my list. Mario Wonder and Tears of the Kingdom are both on my list. I have done Spider-Man, so that's something. Ice Cap Zone is an amazing track. Wait a minute. Oh, I see. Your bum always does you favours. Imagine the mess without it. I'd rather not, thanks, Tom. Rather not. Yeah, I played Spider-Man 2. That one is done. I reckon I'll get through Diablo 4 in good time. Remnant seems quite long. You think it's overrated MSP2? MSP2. Well, I don't know. What else have you all been playing this week? Oh, Alan Wake 2, that's another one. Tando, the next Batman is live service. No, so it's a vague topic for today, whereby Warner Brothers have said that they want to ditch making single player console and PC games. They want all of their games and all of their IP to be broad, multi-platform, far-reaching live service games. Marvel Spider-Man 2, MSP2. I'll let you off. Exactly, Tando. It's a disaster. Like, it's the worst thing that you want to hear. Stupid executives saying stupid things. They said the quiet part out loud. They revealed to the world that they're planning to just be shit. And they said it this year after releasing a console game that sold mad. They released Harry Potter this year and it sold like enough to be considered a big financial success, you would think, but they're like, no, it's not enough. As a fellow alcoholic, does bottled up wine or any type of alcohol with a cork expire? In theory, Tony, it shouldn't, but in practice it can. And I don't know the distinction. I don't know what wines expire and what wines don't. Because you can get like 40-year-old wines and whiskies and go, oh, that's a treat, it's extra aged and delicious. But But then you get other wines that are like, well, this is a month out of date and it tastes like piss. So no, Tony, you can't rely on that cork. Even though in theory alcohol is super preservative that should keep itself good. Warner Brothers haven't learnt from the Suicide Squad backlash. Well, problem, Replicant, is they haven't released it yet to see how financially impactful that backlash might end up being. Then they'll learn. You open up corked alcohol and it tastes disgusting. It can happen, I'm afraid, Tony. It's almost certainly gone off then. What is it? What is your corked alcohol of choice? How it's stored must surely be a factor. But what are the smart characteristics you have to achieve to keep wine good? Or other alcohols? I'm not an alcoholic though, Tony. I went along with that to be polite, but real alcoholics wouldn't even notice, Tom. Probably, maybe. Soundtrack has Metal Gear vibes. Do you know what? I know that thing that I just heard, and I should definitely know. The soundtrack's a cheat. But that was a really distinct game. It needs to come back. I'm going to get it. It was Golden Axe. That's what you just heard. And that's not what the OST is. Must have been Golden Axe. Someone sing the Golden Axe tune for me so that I can confirm. You're going to a local vineyard. A vineyard in England for a tasting on Sunday afternoon. It's already begun. Are you going to be back in time for some multiplayer, Peter? That's the question. And are you going to drink the wine, or are you going to mouth it around and spit it out, all professional like? Let's speed things along and start getting these topics moving, because we touched briefly on drink it, of course, Peter. You've got to get your value for money out of it. What's happening? We're moving swiftly on because we touched briefly on Warner Brothers. So what? You have a mega paper cut. What IP do Warner Brothers have that is going to be decimated and ruined by their new direction? I think. Do they have any game IP that's actually game IP and not movie IP? I guess Mortal Kombat is theirs, isn't it? Is the OST Jet Set Radio? The bit that you hear right now, Replicant, is a take on Jet Set Radio. So we've had Golden Axe and Jet Set Radio so far, which tells you that it's tricksy. There's not an Aquaman game, is there? Has there ever been an Aquaman game? Wait a moment. Not Bing. Go away, Bing. No one searches on Bing. Aquaman game. Aquaman Battle for Atlantis. There has indeed. I've never played the Aquaman game, but yeah, I guess Warner Brothers would have the rights to do another one. Go away, stupid message. Are you still not allowed to play? No, because you know the answer for the game. Plus, I've already more or less given it away. Piss off, little message. I think you kind of already answered today, Isla, and I didn't quite say it. I did not tell you to fuck off. I'm quite polite, I'll have you know. The OST is not from the Dreamcast, no. You can see them doing a Lego live service game. That could, like, kind of make sense, I suppose. I don't know what this God Games channel is that we're watching at the moment, but they're showing Aquaman from the original Xbox, which I didn't know existed as a game. And looking at this trailer is not making me want to play it. But yes, I can see a Lego Live Service game. The series that people are concerned about is Batman and the Arkham games. You kind of, Ali, you didn't say it, but you were close enough that I would have given you the more specific answer. You said the game without like accurately saying the game's name. Wow, Aquaman looks good. That's enough Aquaman. So she said Sonic R when there was a Sonic R related tune playing, but Rocksteady isn't touching Batman anymore, so anything being made is going to be trash, unfortunately. Well, some people, Tony, really like Batman Origins. That's the first one that I'm going to play when I start playing those in the near future, and that wasn't Rocksteady. I am going to play through all of the Arkham games, just to conquer my fear of stealth. I don't have a fear of stealth, I'm just going to do it for entertainment's sake. At some point. What do you mean? Don't I dare what? You weren't talking about the OST? Oh, you're allowed to join in with the conversation. Of course you are. You saw Batman running on the new OLED Steam Deck. I meant to include that as a topic today. That was announced like an hour ago or 2 hours ago. Batman would be a fairly ideal showcase of an OLED screen. Like in person, more so than watching a recording of it or whatever, because recordings don't do OLED proper justice, but yes. Steam Deck OLED would make a lot of sense. If you like playing games on the go, which as we know, I don't. Yes, Tony, about 2 hours ago they announced a new model of Steam Deck. It has an OLED HDR screen and Wi-Fi 6E. Your favorite designation of Wi-Fi, Tony. 6E. Wi-Fi 6E, that is very relevant to today's market. Prepped, primed and ready to go with a VR headset when they release one. Tony, I know not many devices have it, but the new Steam Deck does have it. So, shove that cap up your ass. What's the next upgrade after that? As far as I know, I didn't properly read into the Steam Deck stuff, but as far as I know, it's the same base spec as the original one. It's just a new screen and a new Wi-Fi connection. Better battery life, they said, in thermals actually, so there must be some difference inside it, but although that could just be from the difference in screen. Don't know. It's going to go nicely with your 900 megabyte connection. Stop bragging with your connection. I really want a good connection. It's got slightly faster memory as well, has it? So, who's getting one? And has anyone got a current Steam Deck and you're now thinking that you need to upgrade? It's a two-part question there. Anyone getting it fresh and anybody getting it as an upgrade from the current Steam Deck? I will not be getting it because portable, but there's a hair in my face. I can't get rid of it. Go away. Got it. You're happy with your Nintendo Switch? No and no from everyone. Well, that's fine. It's curious that it's got an HDR screen because I don't know how well Linux handles that, but Valve must be confident, so I'm sure they're going to get it working. Tony, you're going to buy it after reviews and how it handles back pattern emulation EmuDeck. It's the same as the Steam Deck. None of that stuff is significantly changing. Replicant said it's got slightly faster memory, but the biggest change is the screen and the Wi-Fi 6E. So, but you've already got a normal Steam Deck, haven't you, Tony? So you know how it handles those things. Question is, do you want the better screen or are you okay with the one you've got? So that's 2 out of my 3 topics. Done. We're nearly there. We're nearly through it. Pulling a Nintendo Switch. Yeah. Some people like the Switch OLED, right? but it's not. It's HDR as well. It's a significant upgrade to the screen quality. But they're not trying to push it like it's some wonderful new invention. They have just announced it as a nicer screen and better Wi-Fi. What am I listening to now? You need to make dinner and lunch and dinner. Well, don't go far because we're nearly ready for the questions. Tony, you're not going to upgrade. You don't care about the screen. Do you still use your Steam Deck, Tony? Or is it sitting in a corner somewhere? Questions don't come up. Oh no, that's a shame. So, let's do the main topic. The main, most important topic of the show, which is not necessarily fresh, but it's been sparked by Microsoft's acquisition of... who did they acquire? What's the AI company called that they just acquired? Or BlizzCon? No, BlizzCon was last week. I guess BlizzCon kept rolling, didn't it, for a few days after last week's show. Replicant, you've been playing World of Warcraft and you didn't confess it. When I asked earlier who's been playing what, you didn't whisper anything, but I know you've been playing World of Warcraft and I know you played the Call of Duty campaign. You don't need to be embarrassed. You can own up to these things. I like Blizzard games. I've played more hours of World of Warcraft than anybody should. InWorld, that's the company. Thank you, Joe. We'll get to them in a minute. We'll do BlizzCon first. But you're going to have to help me, Replicant. What of interest came out of BlizzCon after that opening night? Back on World of Warcraft for your sins. Have you pre-purchased the expansion? And can you tell me what's the currency for? Because I got the email from them like, oh, you should pre-purchase it, you'll get Dragonflight and all this stuff. And I looked at the stuff that you get on each package and it was like, for the standard edition you get 500 traders currency, and the next one you get 1,000, and the next one you get 1,500. And I threw up in my mouth and then went, no, don't jump to conclusions, and swallowed it back down. What is that currency? What do you do with it? Because like World of Warcraft always has, like, it already has every possible avenue of monetization. So what is this currency? There's an in-game store that you spend money on, but this is a different. So as well as the actual storefront that you can get to through the Blizzard launcher and through the interface on World of Warcraft, there's another store that uses digital currency for cosmetics as well. Because selling them directly for real money wasn't enough. I was right to be sick. Destiny doesn't have that many currencies that you buy for real money, does it? It has lots of currencies in game, but I don't know, I don't play Destiny either, but Joe, you've never played World of Warcraft. They did allude to the possibility of working on bringing it to console in some form or another, but without really getting into the challenges and what they're going to do about the new player experience and the difficult classes that just don't work very well on a controller and things like that. So just I don't know, early discussion at the moment, I guess. Well, early discussion for us in the public, but I'm sure they've got further with it internally than that. You don't think it will come to console? I don't think it should, Replicant, necessarily, or it would take a lot of reworking to bring it to console. But they were they said on stage, like, well, we're part of Microsoft now, we're part of Xbox, so of course we're going to consider it, which is, why flirt with the console people if they're not considering it? World of Warcraft was okay. Have you played it, Tony? Tony, you're also guilty and embarrassed because you've been playing Final Fantasy XIV, haven't you? That's of interest. Tony, how is Final Fantasy XIV? How much have you played it? Are you now addicted to online RPGs? Peter, you bought an LG OLED ahead of the X release to be ready for all the 120 frames per second games. Lovely screen, but the most notable feature has been the burn-in. You've not got burn-in on an OLED. That's not true. I've got an OLED in the other room from 2016 and it's not got any burn-in. You can't actually have burn-in. Modern ones don't do that. Tell me more, Peter, because I've been quietly wishing for the 42-inch OLED for this room for years, like since it arrived. Joe, you've got no interest in it. If you told your mates that you played it, they'd disown you. Yeah, it does have that image, but that doesn't matter. Like, all games have that image in some circles. World of Warcraft. The thing with World of Warcraft is I've never liked it as a game, but it was fun to play with friends, and that's the thing that a console release could do for it. Is it would get some groups of friends on there together, and they would have a good time for a little while. Tony, Final Fantasy 14. You started it. The same applies for Final Fantasy 14, by the way. When that comes to console, it's obviously already on console, but when it comes to Xbox, it's not going to do massive numbers on Xbox, but there will be some groups of people that play it together, which is the way to get the best out of those games. But Final Fantasy 14, you started it, and after 2 hours of character creation, you did a couple of missions in the city. You haven't gone back, but you do want to try it more. Overall, it seems fun and interesting. I know they've streamlined the start of that game, but I still think you've got quite a lot of boring hours ahead of you, Tony, before you get to the good bit. The weird thing on Final Fantasy 14 is, much like World of Warcraft, is like the good stuff about it, or the stuff that, this isn't first-hand experience because I haven't got that far, but the stuff that people try and tell you is good is the like Final Fantasy style storytelling, as in character-driven stuff. So like I was saying on Go Live on Saturday, it's the MMO problem where telling a story around the player character is difficult. You have these weird celebrity heroes and you become hero spectator. Final Fantasy 14 is supposed to be a good, like the expansions, each of them is supposed to be like a good Final Fantasy game telling a good story, but it's not really about you. You just have to witness the good story being told for these other characters. Isla, you broke your spine and you're dead. Please fix that. Right. Super glue to fix the spine? Yeah, why not? Remember, you only have time for one MMO. How do you have time for any MMOs? That's the difficulty. Obviously, the dream is one virtual reality MMO that you just play for a few hours every day, and then you can fuck the rest of the world. It doesn't matter. You smashed your back into the coffee table, like you fell backwards. Don't have time for one, really, no. Is World of Warcraft fairly demanding of your time, or can you have fun? Are you playing it with other people, Replicant, or is it just you? Are you playing it as a single player, massively multiplayer online RPG? Just you, and you're on Argent Dawn, aren't you? What server am I on? I can't remember. Let's have a little look-see. It's a dumb idea. I'm doing it anyway, I don't care. Dumb ideas are fine. If the stream collapses, it's because I'm an idiot and I started World of Warcraft while I was doing it. What's new? Go away. Here we go. Here we go. Right. I'm online with World of Warcraft. Ah, it's got a freaking update, so I'm not starting World of Warcraft. Never mind. Never mind. But what it does is it gives me an opportunity to remind myself of what you get. You're in a clan, but you're not doing raids or anything. I am leader of a guild, I think, probably still, unless someone's taken it over since I stopped. Fun times. What's Saturday, Peter? Right, pre-purchase, base edition, 40 quid. Epic edition, 75 quid. What do you get? What do you get? The War Within is in all editions. Dragonflight is in all editions. Enhanced level 70 character boost. Disgusting. Trader's Tender. 500, 750 or 1000. Disgusting. Algarian Storm Rider mount with dynamic flying. Disgusting. Upgradable Storm Rider's attire transmogrification set. Disgusting. Beta access. Yeah, fair enough. 3 days early access if you get the Epic Edition. Disgusting. 30 days of game time you don't get in the base editions. How the mighty have fallen. And a Storm Hatchling pet. And a Storm Griffin toy. And a Hearthstone effect for using your Hearthstone. Freaking awful. Gross, disgusting. Every time I look at it... Oops, that was downloading. Every time I look at it and think, oh, World of Warcraft could be fun, they show me shit like that and I lose interest entirely. Just through the way that they monetize the crap out of it. But then I get away from it for a few days and I get tempted again. So who knows? Maybe I'll be on there before you know it. Let's exit Battle.net because it's still trying to update stuff. It's already gone. Cool. Blaze, I'm always good. How you doing? Let's move on to the next thing, the main topic, the AI one. So someone told me it was in-house, wasn't it? Someone said. So Microsoft acquired in-house and they specialize in AI-driven content development tools for game development specifically. So using AI to make your character assets or your textures or whatever else for game design. And it kicked up the usual like hornet's nest of trouble. So you had Alana Pierce was vocal about it, saying that she would never play a game that used this tool. It's not fair on creators and artists and all the rest of it. And you had some other people standing up in defense of it because it's a beneficial tool to help game developers make better things, cheaper, all the rest of it, and to help control these spiraling development costs. So people here, what do you think of AI? Is it a tool or is it the scourge of humanity? Replicant, I've seen people saying that her employer is investing in AI. I heard people saying that Sony Santa Monica specifically had already used it in God of War, but I've not seen anyone be able to verify that claim or source it in any way whatsoever, because that would be an oops. That would be a problem, like, to say these bold things and not mean it at all. What do we think, though? So, because there's pros and cons to it. Like, I understand. I don't understand at all anything in the world. Don't know why I'm here. It's both. It's a great tool, but it will take people's jobs. So, philosophically, though, like, it reminds me of all the arguments that you used to get around self-checkout in shops, where putting self-checkout machines was taking people's jobs. And to me, it was always like a misguided, misplaced argument, because, like, yes, there are problems associated with a machine taking a person's job, but you're protecting the wrong thing. The important thing is you need to protect that person's quality of life, but you don't need to protect their right to sit there doing work for money. This is like obviously a difficult thing to shift and address in society, but the idea that you do things for money is not the essence of living a good life. So it's a tricky one, because in theory, if you're lucky enough to have a job doing something that you like, good for you, but AI replacing you doesn't stop you doing the thing that you like. Anyone can go and do art in their own time. It's fine, right? So, I don't know, protecting work for the sake of work is a strange scenario, and it's slightly different because, like, art is a thing that's good to be involved in and good to be doing. It's a job to aspire to, whereas selling stuff in a shop is not that. It's more menial, but I don't know. And that's not to, like, undermine or discount the creators that are concerned for their livelihood. Their concerns are legitimate, and I do feel for them. Tom, it's definitely a tool. It could potentially be the scourge, but doubtful. Nanobots, they're different. Nanobots are the scourge, are they? Joe, you used to work in a shop and would have been happy to be replaced. Yeah, but it's the same argument, essentially. Like, yes, machines of some variety can stop people from doing a job. And yes, those people, all people, need to have their livelihood protected in some way. But it doesn't mean that the tool needs to not be utilized. You don't keep those people doing that job for the sake of doing that job. So it should just speed up dev. No one needs to lose their job, maybe. But those things kind of go together. Like, if you don't need a team of artists to provide all of the textures for your game, then it's quite likely that those artists don't work anymore, right? Government regulations should be there for that. Yes, it should. Replicant, you quite happily let AI do the report that you needed to do today. Yeah. I'm not anti-AI as at all, because I'm also not artistically capable. So for me, if I look at it from my own perspective, if I wanted to make a game, which I would love to, AI as a tool would enable me to do that in a way that I never could without it. And that's a positive to me. So, tricky. You don't know what it's called. You want Starbucks. Oh, you're going to see The Marvels. I think the Marvel movie is called The Marvels. And yes, it would be nice if governments protected people's livelihoods, but it's not something that ours is particularly up for. Single-handedly paying the cinema's rent. Well, good. So no strong feelings about AI? Cool. Q&Asa, the developer of the Falconeer, he's making the Falconeer Bulwark at the moment that looks really cool and I want to play it. He's very vocally against AI, and very much speaks as an artist and talks about like the human experience being so important to the creation of the medium in the first place. And he also works pretty much as a solo developer, so he gets to very much impose his vision on something, and his games are his art. So I get where he's coming from, but you're going to fight on the front lines of the resistance against the AI invasion. Why, Isla? Have the conversation, tell me. JJ, you think it's one of those things, embrace it, regulate it, and move with the times? Yeah, I mean, it's going to be embraced by the people that control such things anyway, so it's a difficult fight if you do want to fight it. You don't know, it's just the vibes. It's wrong and you hate it. See, I don't think it is wrong and I don't hate it. There's obviously like different ways that you can utilize it, and some things are more dubious than others. And the concerns around like stealing other people's work are legitimate, and all the stuff that's going on with the actors strikes and so on, because Hollywood studios can use people's likeness and voice through AI. That's a different conversation, because am I going to be on the robot side? Of course I am. Yeah. AI as a tool is exciting to me. AI took your job once. Which one? Did you get the OST episode 13? What is it? Oh no, okay, no, you're not quite right. This currently, what you can hear right now is from Jet Set Radio. Thumbnail wizard. Or AI enabled me, a person that's not capable of good thumbnails, to make thumbnails. What a useful tool. That's what you said, it's Jet Set Radio. Yeah, but it's not episode 13. The game that this OST is taken from is not Jet Set Radio. You've fallen into the trap that I enjoy, which is why I didn't want Isla to spoil it again. It's a good trap. It's not, it's really not. Oh, episode 30 is so aggressive. This song is in Jet Set Radio, yeah it is. I mean, again, Isla, because the first time I played this OST, you did the same thing. You guessed it at the start based on hearing something from Sonic. Dreamcast demo disc. Nice try, Joe. That's not far off, but no, it's not Samba de Amigo either. No, episode 13. You're not right. You are ensnared in the trap with everybody else. It doesn't matter what you're basing it on. Dreamcast boot disc. Anyway. Choo Choo Rocket. Anyway. What about, so on the AI conversation, one of the arguments that goes against it is that AI is always going to be derivative of other people's work. It can't create something new. So what about in the creative space? If you have like someone with a really distinct, really smart vision, like you've got your Hideo Kojima, but not him, someone who's got that kind of vision but isn't in the position to lead a studio. Arguably in that scenario where you have someone leading maybe on their own and they've just got AI working for them, you might be able to get closer, you might be able to better realize an artist's vision than you could if you had many human people trying to contribute and muddy the waters, too many chefs and all that kind of stuff, right? So maybe AI as a tool is going to enable better human creativity in some circumstances. What do you say to that, Isla, that wants to argue against AI? Has anyone had tender stem broccoli before? You're presuming by the name that you don't have to trim it because the stem is nice, correct? I'm only going by the name, Tom. I think you should just munch it raw. Already, but yeah. So DLSS is slightly different though. This is specifically AI as a content generation tool. Funnily enough, it being called artificial intelligence definitely causes some confusion because the stuff I was saying earlier that I'd heard about 1 second, Peter. I'll get to that in a second. Sony Santa Monica using AI in God of War Ragnarok was the argument that was going around. People were using it against Alana, saying, she can't say that. And then someone linked an article to prove this point. This is why I say I've not seen a valid source yet. Someone linked an article, and the article talked about the way the developers had to rebuild AI for new kinds of monsters and like a different variety of stages and all that kind of thing. And they completely conflated and confused themselves over what was being discussed because they took it to mean AI in the way that we talk about NPC characters in games. And went, you've got monsters in your game, you don't get to talk. That is AI. And it was quite amusing to me to watch, but stems are good, yes. So Peter, that assumes that AI strands will agree with each other. No, it doesn't necessarily. It just assumes that the use and utilization of AI would allow one person to maintain more control of a project. Whereas it's harder and not necessarily fair to maintain that level of control with a human team. So if I had a team of 200 people, or you look at something like The Last of Us 2 where they've got a team of like 2,000 people, each one of those people might consider themselves an artist, and each one of them was going to want to like leave their stamp, leave their mark on the project, have their own ideas of what something should be and something should look like and what the game is. You wouldn't have to deal with like ego as such with AI. No one wouldn't, like AI wouldn't mind if you disregarded its work, unless it was very emotional AI, you know. But you are going to cook it. Good choice, Tom, good choice. But you can't trust episode 13. He's very stubborn. But if he's told you that you can eat the stem, then probably don't eat the stem. Tony, devs are the most pampered jobs you've ever seen in your life. No, they're not. They're being overworked. Shut the fuck up. You want to see overworked? Go to a farm or manufacturing company assembly line. No, there's definitely like roles that are more pampered. Especially, so you said devs there, which is broad. Game development in particular, they're less pampered than other software developers, for one. because it's a more fun line of work. So compromise you have to make is you have to be willing to work for less, work harder, because more people want to do a job that's fun. Software developers, like broad software developers, are more in demand, so they get a cushier life out of it. If the stem is bad, you should speak the truth about Halo. What, that it's got mad auto aim if you're on a controller? Good, I look forward to it. Replicant, you wouldn't like to be a coder on the front line? I think I would. I just don't know how to do it because I never learned. I think that would suit me just fine. You evicted the kitty. Start the clock. Start the clock? You mean do the questions? Peter, when AI can draw a sensible hand, you would let them work on a game. Looks like we have a few more years. But what if you just want them to draw like a rock texture? Like, there's lots of things that AI can do. You like the AI hands, actually. What, the multiple fingers thing? 7 fingers or more? Huh. And abs as well. Like muscles in the abdomen, they usually get a bit confused on, don't they? And teeth. But then maybe you just don't assign them like humans. Give them the 7-fingered aliens to render. Evening Space Denizen, how's it going? We're talking about AI and how everybody loves it. The kind of AI that can make things. And we've unanimously agreed that it's good for everybody. Yeah, I think that's true. Especially like, definitely for virtual reality development where they struggle with budgets and things like that. Get in there. Make loads of stuff. Suddenly, like, resource and asset rich games everywhere. Tony, you're going to tell AI to do my next thumbnail. I've had, I've used AI for thumbnails, not to make the entirety of a thumbnail, but I've used it as a tool towards my thumbnails. Useful tool it is. And no, Isla, that doesn't mean it's better than you or replacing you or anything of those things. What do you mean, what happened? The reason AI can't draw hands must surely be because they can't properly be trained, because humans find it hard to draw hands. I don't actually know, Peter, why it struggles with certain things. Tony, you're not allowed to unsubscribe. So, what else is there? I think we're done. Especially if Tony's leaving, can't be having that. Were there any other topics that I've missed for the week? Don't forget you're here forever. This is not true. None of us are here forever. Only the AI shall remain. That's the truth of it, what, Peter, that humans find it hard to draw hands, that AI does, but you could train it on data from people that can draw hands, you would think. This current track is from Samba de Amigo, absolutely. But the OST is from one single game. So, it's not Samba de Amigo, it's not Jet Set Radio, it's not Golden Axe. What else have we had? Yeah. It's not Super Monkey Ball, but that's probably in there somewhere as well. It's not Rock Band. It's not Space Channel 5, although that may also be in there. You are picking up the Sega theme, so... You are going to get it shortly, I'm sure you are. Okay, I think think that there's some really good VR games coming out in December. November and December. That surprised me. I've been saying like Alan Wake 2 was kind of the last game of the year in terms of being able to get a breather and kind of like to catch up on some of the things that I've missed. And in Pancake Land it was. Call of Duty doesn't count. I don't care about Call of Duty. So Alan Wake 2 kind of finished it alongside RoboCop that I do want to play. Year done. Pancake games have a rest. But then I saw the games that are coming to VR in November, December. I was like, fuck. So the Vampire the Masquerade game came out already. You've got Assassin's Creed Nexus or whatever on the Quest. It looks really good. You've got Bulletstorm VR, which is on PC, PlayStation and Quest. And that looks like it's going to be cool fun. Arizona Sunshine 2 comes out in December as well. I haven't seen Out of Hand. But you mentioned it before and I haven't looked it up yet. But just those is like hang about. That's a nice little resurgence of virtual reality content. There's a lot of things there I actually want to play, which is fairly rare in the VR space, that you have a load of actual releases. Oh, and Asgard's Wrath 2, of course, I forgot. That also comes out in December. I think you're going to get Nexus if the reviews are good. Nexus, like, I wish it was coming to other platforms, because it does look like a step beyond what the Quest is really able to deliver. But yeah, it looks cool. Let's have a look out at... no, actually I'm not going to bring up a trailer. I don't feel like it. Yeah, I do. Nexus is the Assassin's Creed game. 3 weeks ago, gameplay overview. Oh, 8 minutes, that's too long. Let's bring it up anyway and maybe cut it if people start talking. No, people have started talking. David Votipka. Okay, I don't want to listen to him because I'm not listening. Anyway, yeah, in headset, this is probably very impressive. And the other ones that I said, so Arizona Sunshine 2, you can get that full-on PC mode if you want the shiny graphics, which I do. Bulletstorm VR also looks very good, and I'm going to get that PC mode. Asgard's Wrath 2 is another Quest one. But quite a bit of cool stuff coming to VR. For some reason, all coming in November and December, which is usually cursed season when no games come out. You finished Genotype last night. Never heard of Genotype, is it? Well, 3 out of 5, you said. It's alright. Might play some more VR after this. This is a weird one. So the Assassin's Creed Nexus thing that's playing right now, it was developed for Meta by Ubisoft with an exclusivity contract and marketing deal, and Meta pulled out of it, cancelled the exclusive rights and marketing deal, but the game already exists, so it's still coming out, and Ubisoft are just like sitting on it, and they could, if they wanted to, bring it to other platforms, but whether they want to or not, I don't know. They got left in a slightly weird, slightly unfair situation by Meta. The Creed game looks good. Creed is in the boxing game, because that is good fun. Bit silly. The way that you move in it is very silly, but it is good fun. Why did they pull out of it? Because they didn't see value to holding it exclusive when it was going to be exclusive anyway, I guess. Or because they decided that Pico wasn't a legitimate threat in the standalone VR space, so they stopped giving money away. AZS2, fucking 60-year-old, better not be some 4 to 6 hours. Wait, AZS2, Arizona Sunshine, cost 60, maybe? I don't know, that was... I'm trying to decipher, but I think that's what you're saying. That Arizona Sunshine 2 is a full price 60 quid game. That is unfortunate. But at the same time, like, it's harsh on VR games to be held up against Pancake games and sold cheap when the market is so much smaller. It's an unfair comparison that there's no way for them to really avoid. $60, yeah. Tom, don't mean that as an insult. You work with a few people who have headsets, but don't buy many games. Wait, you wonder if it's because there's quite a few random normies with VR headsets who might get a game for Christmas. Yeah, but that's the same on consoles, right? It's strange because in the console space, like, Christmas is a massive deal, but still, for a time everyone released games in November, but then Call of Duty started dominating November. December was always a dead zone, and November kind of became a dead except Call of Duty zone. So you'd think the same rules would apply in VR. The only real difference is that all of the content is digital, so I guess it's not as like giftable in the same way, and maybe they're relying on the fact that everyone's getting these headsets for Christmas and doesn't actually have content on them because you can't gift a physical VR game. Connor, how's it going? How's your comic or story that you're doing? It's comic, isn't it? Avatar game comes out in December. Do you know what, Replicant? I got my Ubisoft Plus email this month saying what I get for my subscription. This is like, it said, you're going to get access to Avatar whenever it comes out. As in, there's no games this month. And also, you can get some cosmetics for Rainbow Six Siege. Ubisoft Plus, shit service, awful. Month by month, it's awful. In terms of actually having a catalogue of games, it's not terrible, and I still love my subscriptions. But it's a novel now. Is it a visual novel, Connor, or are you actually wording it up? Story too big for a comic. God Emperor Sofa King, how's it going? Connor, do you still have time to play, or are you like fully engrossed in writing? Space Denizen, you think that VR games are forced to sell cheaper and they usually have less content? They are forced to sell cheaper and they do usually have less content, and they are usually made by smaller teams, but it's one of those things where like the market is categorically smaller. They cannot sell as many copies, so in theory that demands that they should charge more money, not less. But it's inescapable. You can't stop that comparison. It's like the it's like I can't think of a good example. Like a racing game, you can envision exactly what a racing game should be in VR, and your expectation is that it will have equivalent content to a Gran Turismo or a Forza. But the market doesn't exist to make something like that unless it is like hybrid, available on both. And it's the same for any other games that can't be hybrid games that can't be developed for console and PC, like pancake versions. Expectations don't lessen as a result. People still know what a game looks like and how much content could be delivered in a game, and they expect that despite the market being much smaller. So it's a harsh position for VR devs, and it's not people's fault. Like, expectations are quite natural, so I don't know. I'm not like cursing Vertigo. It's Vertigo that make Arizona Sunshine, isn't it? So I'm not going to curse them for charging a full price game for it, even if it is quite short, because really there aren't loads of VR games and I would quite like to support it. So you still have time to play, but mostly in the evening, so you're doing your writing in the day. Good. Isla Sleepy, that means we need to do the questions. Quest 3, I heard from a hardware breakdown that it's subsidized to the value of about $200, they estimate, which is not fully, like, it's not from Meta saying that. It was just based on a teardown and some estimates of parts and things, but yes, cheap for what it is. And not cheap compared to the Quest 2 launch price though. Quest 2 launched at like 300 quid. And this one is 500, so a big step up from the previous generation, but very, very good for the hardware that you get in it. Tom, if you'll pay for something that is set by you, price points wouldn't exist if they couldn't sell at them. Yes. Prices are set by the consumer. Yes, to an extent, yes. But I like games. I would pay a lot for them. Don't tell them. Don't let Microsoft or Sony or anyone greedy like that here, but I would pay quite a lot for games if I needed to. I'd rather they didn't keep raising the prices, but God Emperor Sefkin, you have the Mets Quest 2 Advance and the 3. Your son loves the Quest. He's not like Roblox Quester, is he? Or is it more Gorilla Tag and all of that kind of stuff? I love VR stuff, so I need to get back onto that some more. Need to finish my Asgard's Wrath and Half-Life Alyx. Yeah. No one got the OST yet, did they? Not quite, not quite. The consumer didn't consent to the fucking event. It couldn't happen, but there's more to it with marketing and hype and all the rest of it. Yeah. It is a complex topic, pricing, and there's quite a lot of like facets and angles to approach it from. You sent a statement as a question. Well, that's the trick of it, Space Denizen. The Q&A box, you can stick whatever you want in there within reason. Doesn't matter that it's not a question. We go through them all at the end. So, no problem at all. Lucky's Tale, as in Super Lucky, as in the game that launched with the Oculus Rift CV1, like that Lucky's Tale. Did they do a native Quest version of that, or are you hooking it up to a PC? Because that's from back in the days where you didn't have hands. That was a controller game on the PC. I had that. It was free with the launch version of the Rift that came with the Xbox controller. Nights. There might be some Nights music in there. When did Tony become Game On Tony? I don't know, but he's welcome to. It was a few weeks ago. You quite like controller games in VR. They work okay. It's not terrible. It's like hands is a different thing that are essential for some types of games. But if you're enjoying playing stuff with a controller, Replicant, I might be well off the mark here, but back when VR was fresh, one of the games that most surprised me was Defense Grid 2, which is a simple tower defense game. But that's where I learned that other perspectives work well in VR. Isometric and like being God mode is effective, is good. And it's probably like it's a fairly basic game, and this was, you are talking the very early days of VR where I was enamored with this for a little while. But you believe that Microsoft will start supporting VR? I bloody well won't, not until Phil Spencer steps down. I'm convinced, because they had all of these talks, these big plans to bring VR to the Xbox One X, Project Scorpio, high fidelity VR console, and then Phil tried it and it made him feel sick, and he forbid anyone in Microsoft from ever supporting virtual reality. And until he gets over it, Microsoft aren't going to let me have it. Replicant doesn't suffer motion sickness. I did. I loved the VR enough to push through it with a mix of potent drugs and stubbornness. I did all of the tricks that you can do with a fan blowing on your face and eating the ginger and then just giving up and having travel sickness tablets. And now I can do it without, but it was worth it. I should run the VR division of Xbox. No, I shouldn't, Tony. Tony? I shouldn't. Sorry, everybody's Tony. I shouldn't, Connor. It's the same with the, like, Jim Ryan stepping down. PlayStation are looking for someone to head that team. I would not be suitable. Because I just want cool games. I would not run a business in any way that benefited the shareholders whatsoever. God, Empress Sophie King never got the sickness. I've always been very susceptible to it in cars and stuff. I've never been able to like look at a phone or read a book in a car or on a train or anything like that. So VR was always going to be a problem for me. But Robo Recall gets you through it, because Robo Recall doesn't have any motion to make you sick, and it's a brilliant, brilliant game. If anybody is on VR and hasn't played Robo Recall yet, do give it a go, because it's still awesome. You can read anyway. Oh, good for you. Stop showing off. Right. Let's do questions. Someone get the OST for me. Do you remember when I had all of these different Blizzard themed tunes? And it went like, here's Overwatch, here's Warcraft, here's Diablo, here's Starcraft. And it turned out the game was Heroes of the Storm, a game that took all of the IPs and mixed them all up in an interesting way. These are all Sega tunes. Does anyone know of any Sega games that might have a medley? A medley of tunes across a variety of Sega games. Don't know what game it would be. Did anyone play Burning Rangers? That's like quite niche. Christmas Nights only had like one level. 1 or 2 levels. I think the real Nights only had about 5 levels. But it's Burning Rangers playing right now. Actual firefighting game with the worst pop-up you've ever seen in a game. It would load the level in like panels. It was all, I guess, space station that they were running around on. And all the big square panels, you'd just have like 1, maybe 2 in front of you. And the rest would pop in as you got closer. Extreme pop-in. Weirdly fun game. Probably terrible to go back to and play now. A Sega Brothers Brawl or something. It's not a fighting game. Peter, you have no problem paying a fair price for a game. What's a fair price though? How do you determine a fair price? Phantasy Star Online. Oh, how I love it. Phantasy Star Online wasn't a medley of Sega games though. It was just Phantasy Star Online. Headhunter was a great game from in the day. I don't think I played Headhunter. Oh, I can't stand no more. Wait. I'm gonna find the trailer and then give it all away. Oh, Tony's back on Country Road. Sega Superstars I've never heard of. You know. Oh, there's the answer that was on the tip of your tongue all along. If a game costs more per hour than you get paid, it should be more fun than work. A game should always be more fun than work anyway. Unless you're one of those really lucky people who has a fun job. It's not the team one, Isla, so you still get 0 points. The team one's OST is nowhere near as interesting. But nice try, you were close. You were very close. Ba-bum-ba-bum. The All-Stars is key. The first Sonic Kart game was just like Sonic-y tunes, and the team one was just Sonic-y tunes. But the All-Stars one ran the gamut of Sega characters and IP. So you get music from Panzer Dragoon and Golden Axe and Burning Rangers and all of these kind of things. It's an important distinction. It was also the good one. The All-Stars Racing Transformed one was also, it was a really good game compared to the others. But that might have just been like nostalgia hitting me in the face while I played it and zipped around a Panzer Dragoon level. Okay, right, let's do the questions. Tom, you have a fun job. One of the dudes that you were working with recently died due to drinking a full bottle of alcohol hand wash. I mean, that's a terrible story. That's a terrible story. Right, with that, Isla's big mad, but she's put up a question anyway. So, Joe asks, it's a VR question. What common problems are there in VR ports that make them worse to play than native games? And do you think modding ports will ever get to the level of native? So, interesting question, Joe. There are common problems in VR ports, but there are not common problems that make them worse to play than native games. A fine example would be like Bethesda's own games that they ported to VR. They were not proper VR games, so you could see your hands in the world, but you couldn't pick stuff up. You had to walk up to it and press A to interact in the way that you would in a game. And it was the same in combat. You could like tickle stuff with your sword, but it was trying to replicate like the timing of someone pressing the right trigger to swing, so you had to almost artificially slow yourself down for it. And yet, despite silly flaws like this, it was better than playing it pancake native. So there are other things. Doors are particularly tricky in VR, and chests, opening chests, things that should be simple. You're used to, you walk up in a game and you hold X and the chest pops open. You think that's an easy interaction, even in a native VR game. You're just going to open a chest, but chests open at a weird angle that your arms aren't naturally going to go unless you're physically holding a chest. And it's the same with doors. You think a door is really obvious, but you walk up to a door in VR and you try and open it and you just hit yourself in the face with the door. And your hand just doesn't naturally mimic like the arch that you would take when opening a real door. So there's some interactions that are surprisingly more tricky than you'd think. Reaching the top of a ladder, that's another one that's difficult. You reach the top of a ladder in VR. Climbing makes a lot of sense. You don't have legs, but you climb with your hands and it all seems simple, but you get to the top and go, right, I'm at the top of a ladder, but I don't have legs. I can kind of throw myself, but there's a 50-50 chance I'm just falling back down the ladder. So there's lots of complex interactions that developers have slowly been getting their head around, but they have mostly got their head around them. There are solutions to all of these problems. And do I think that modding and ports will ever get to the level of native? Yes, they have in some select cases. If you play, like Resident Evil is a good example. You can play Resident Evil 7 official native on PlayStation VR, or you can play the modders version, the ported version on PC, and they're essentially the same. The PC one has more features than the PlayStation one. Resident Evil 8 leans slightly the other way. The PlayStation VR version is slightly more immersive. It has some features that require that Capcom level of intimacy with the engine to implement, but it's good on both. So VR ports are going to get very interesting in the next year, because Praydog's mod that enables easy VR porting of every Unreal Engine game, essentially almost everyone, is going to see a lot of ports flooding the PC space, which I'm obviously looking forward to. Is Isla dying? She's usually dying. Sonic, I being trashed. What does that mean, Tony? Tom, terrible but true. The only way that you deal with that shit is trying to find some humor in the dark depths of shit. Yeah, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. That's an awful story. And I imagine if it's someone that, like, if you work with them, then you must have known them on some personal level. So sorry to hear it is all I can really say. That Space Denizen case in point, Dungeons of Eternity has so many mechanics nailed down. That's the worst fucking doors. And that's a native VR game. So I've not played that one, but I'm surprised that that's an example. This is why, being like a VR nerd that's always thinking in these terms, I was excited when I was playing Starfield and most of the doors opened laterally. They just slid out the way. I was like, wow, Bethesda have made the doors for VR, I'm so happy. And then as the game progressed, I got to some doors that were less friendly, but most of the doors in that game are VR friendly doors. I want to play Dungeons of Eternity. I need to get on that. Do some exercise. No, I think she does a fair amount of that. It's not always a simple cure to anxiety, unfortunately. Right. Next question, please. Right, Tony, how do I insert my consciousness into computer world? You would like to hijack my games after you die? Well, Tony, that's a good question. I heard, or I saw a post on the old Twitter saying that Elon Musk's Neuralink are currently looking for a volunteer to insert a chip into the brain. So obviously I volunteered immediately. Cannot wait. But I don't know if that's going to let me transfer my consciousness into cyberspace, or if it's just going to stick cyberspace into my consciousness. I will let you know once the chip is in there, and we'll see what interactions I can manage. But you should be afraid. Next question. Will I still be a goldfish? I don't really know what it does. I just heard prototype technology, stick it in my brain and said yes. Most likely I will still be a goldfish, but a powerful one. Episode 13, pancake games forever or ducks forever? You can choose. You can only choose one. I'm not going to stop playing pancake games forever, but do you mean that I'm not allowed VR games, or I have to be inundated with ducks forever? I will take ducks forever. I'll stick my VR headset on and woe betide any ducks that come near my stomping feet. Phew, Joe's back. I was getting worried. Illegal Dad, how's it going? Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are here at the end. Note to self, duck question compilation. Did anyone get the soundtrack yet? Yes, Joe, I had to reveal the soundtrack to the world because I couldn't stand all the misses any longer. Tom, can you taste the chip in your brain, and is it well seasoned with salt and vinegar? I don't know yet. Probably don't want to taste it. I'm pretty sure it's just like metallic. But if you want a salt and vinegar chip in your head, I recommend inserting it via the mouth. And then you'll be all set. We're not mad. Nobody's mad. Everybody had a good time with the OST. Next question, please. Game on Tonio asked, what's the last game you completed that you felt like you enjoyed it thoroughly and even brought a tear to your eye? I can't remember the last game that brought a tear to my eye. I was going to say the last game that I enjoyed was easy because I enjoyed Spider-Man. But it didn't hit emotions in the same way as Spider-Man 2018 did, for example. Last game that made me actually feel things. I am a sensitive chap, and I can get feelings from games. I'm not one of these like, no, of course I don't feel any emotions. Like sometimes I say that, but I don't mean it. Games can move me, but I cannot think of the most recent example. What have I played? It's probably, Tony, it's Forza Motorsport. When you smashed me off the track, it hurt me in the feelings so bad. There were a couple of tears running down. I had to turn away from the camera so you couldn't see them, just disguised by my honky big nose. But I don't see Martin Lewis's salt and vinegar tear chart. No, I did not. Space Denizen, you did not love Spider-Man 2. I have a fully in-depth review coming soon that says what I did and didn't like about it. There's definitely like fair reason not to like it. It's going to be a good review. I've written most of it and I quite like my own thoughts, which is rare. Normally I hate my own stuff. Right, I think I answered that. Next question, please. Joe, what won the salt and vinegar tier listing thing? What was top tier salt and vinegar? Will you AI robot be peace or war? Wait, what? What does it mean, Kratos? What does it mean? Will you AI robot be peace or war? First one, then to other. You have to war first to get to the peace, which is sad in light of current events, and I wish I hadn't said it. But yeah, yeah. I still don't understand the question. So, next. Will you be a good robot or a bad robot? Yeah, okay. Let me think. I reckon I'd be good for robot kind, but probably not so good for humankind. You're having a soy sauce emergency, like you haven't got any soy sauce, or you've used far too much soy sauce because I kept asking you to click through questions. Tony, VR is just a poor man's attempt to live a life he can't achieve. Can be. It can do that for you. You want to race fast cars and fly aeroplanes, VR can be that gateway. But even a rich man can't fight head crabs and fun things like that. So, don't know, Tony, open your mind to more experiences. You spilled it on your foot. That's fine, just like shake it off into the rice or whatever food you're making. Negative? What do you mean negative? You refuse to open your mind. Fair enough. Can't make you. Where is episode 13 on baby duty? Probably. Or fell asleep. One of those things. I think he's still sulking. I think episode 13 is sulking because the OST wasn't Jet Set Radio. So. But episode 13, if you are there, Isla's made a rice bowl and you are supposed to be pleased. Next question, please. How many years does it take to hate someone? How many years does it take to stop hating someone, Tony? That's a more of a question, because you can hate someone fairly instantaneously, I think. You have a bad introduction. Seconds, exactly, Peter, but how many years does it take to stop hating someone? When will the pain heal? I don't hate anyone, so. But that's a good question, right? Why, Tony? Who are you trying to hate? Are you, like, working on it? Do you have an ongoing project? Seconds to stop hating someone. Peter, that's an emotional roller coaster. How do you get by? Takes a while to stop hating someone. Depends how much they played with your soul. But it is possible then, Kratos. Good to know, good to know. Tony's hate project is ongoing. Seconds to stop to just have a quick hate. That sounds more like kind of a road rage more than a hate. Like a momentary rush of emotion, but I'm not sure that qualifies as hate. Yeah, I don't think you can speedrun hate. That's rage, that's different. Space Denizen, you can muster hate in as little as 2 seconds, but can you disperse it just as quickly? Tony hates you for not finishing Little Nightmares 2. I didn't start Little Nightmares 2. Joe, your VR question did get asked and I answered it really, really thoroughly. And it's a shame that you weren't there for it. Because it's gone forever now with no way to recover. Cool, yes, going back is an option. Connor. Hello, Connor, how you doing? General C is Connor. Peter, you never just thought, oh shit, I was wrong. But hate is a very strong word. Maybe you're thinking dislike. Hate is strong, it's a strong emotion. And I've never been wrong as far as I'm aware, so. That was your accidental hello. It came through, it's all good. not doxed. He's called Connor in his own streams and stuff. He doesn't mind. Right, Game On Tonio asked, I'm glad you were the fastest to the egg. What does it mean? Oh, I know what it means. It took me a minute. Thanks, Tony. But I don't know, the other versions were probably way better. Took me a while. How's it going, Wayne? Look at that, Tony. My idiocy and your comment got a low out of Wayne that hadn't even announced his presence until that moment. Hate is silly. Most people have redeeming features. Maybe. Peter, your first impression is right 99% of the time. 1% is quite a lot though, because you make a lot of first impressions. Like, well, you take a lot of first impressions. So Isla's going to kick you in the face, Peter. Be careful. He waved. Oh, is that what that is? Oh, it's a wave. Yeah, I missed a character. Sorry. Well, Wayne waved. Either way, it works. Right. Yeah, episode 13 was making formula. Episode 13, you definitely missed your question. Everybody is missing their own questions today. That seems to be the rule. Yeah, I'm afraid it's already been answered. It's gone forever. And Isla has made rice. Yeah. You got the Tommy Tippy machine? What does it mean? Episode 69. Nice. No, it's episode 13. 1-3. But yes, he's a nice enough guy. Next question, please. Milk maker. You're welcome, episode 13. I said some mean things while you were gone, and now we're even. Oh no, Peter, you might be in the 1% there. Like, pretty sure she enjoys kicking people in the face. Next question, please. If there are more. No, you have to warm it, Tony. Right, here we go. Space Denizen. That's Arizona Sunshine 1 and After the Fall were way overpriced. Short games is one of the biggest problems with VR, in your opinion. Full price games fine if they come through with a full length game. Yeah. I'm sympathetic still. Because I like... Just because the economics of it. Development budgets between Pancake Games and VR are similar, and the audience sizes are not similar. So, hard thing for them to get right. But you're like, I get your point of view, because as a consumer, as a customer, fair or not, these are the expectations. You've played normal games before, and you expect to see that same thing for the same price in the VR space, which it's not unfair. It's just hard. But I also hope that Arizona Sunshine 2 is a bigger game that lasts us a bit more time. Are there any Space Denizen VR specific games that you felt did deliver on length? Asgard's Wrath stands out and Half-Life Alyx, but besides those two, it's hard to think of many that are like full length games that didn't also have a pancake version, like dedicated VR games that are full sized. Tony, when you fed Cold Rock as a baby, it could explain everything. Mm-hmm. Right. Next question, please. And you didn't ask for permission to go? Right. I think that means the next question is not available right now. Ew, illegal dad never pees. Well, somehow we've almost had a full-length show. Almost. Let's think. Bad sound effect, right. Isla says, this is my favourite show. Good, Tyler. That's nice when you say it quite often. I do. It does register. I'm glad you like it. Illegal Dad, your question was missed. I don't miss any questions. It just hasn't come up yet. Every question, unless something goes horribly wrong with YouTube, every question comes up. So let's click through to the next one and see what it is. Let's announce the soundtrack. We already did, Joe. We already did through a trailer. Clip. Clip's not a question. I don't know what to make of that one. So Space Denizen. So Resident Evil 7 and 8. But Resident Evil 7 and 8 and Wipeout and Gran Turismo 7 and Squadrons and Subnautica all have a pancake version, which changes the economics. Astrobot doesn't. So that one fits the criteria, but all of those other games have a pancake version. The only like VR specific ones that stand out to me off the top of my head are Asgard's Wrath, which is large, but still kind of B tier in terms of its size compared to a pancake game. So massive budget and massive amount of data, but quite simple in some other regards. And Half-Life Alyx, which stands as a full game, but there's not many others that I would say in the dedicated VR space are as big. Clip wasn't supposed to be a question. Cool. All right, here we go. Peter Morland asked, back when I worked for, well, not asked, you know, said, back when I worked for Microprose, we said a game was good value if you played it for at least the number of hours that you paid monies for. So $40 for 40 plus hours enjoyment was okay. What? Is it reasonable? Yes and no, Peter. I think the hours to pounds or dollars conversion thing, I mean, obviously values have changed over time, but it's a weird game because for one thing it can encourage developers to inflate games with bad content and padding, which isn't actually enhancing the value really. You get some extreme examples like the Call of Duty campaign being 3 hours. If you get a real extreme short game that you're paying 70 quid for and playing for 3 hours, then people are going to vomit about the length of time. But there's a massive space in between where a game that takes 150 hours isn't necessarily providing you more than a game that is like 20 hours but focuses the quality more heavily in that 20 hours. So it's a tricky one, but generally I'd steer clear of a price per hour kind of judgment of value, if that makes sense. Microprose is a strip club. Yes, that's true, probably. Sorry, but seeing as you've asked about 18 times, can we re-announce? Yes, I'm sorry, Joe, we can re-announce. It's Sega Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed, or some combination of those words. I said it slightly wrong. Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed was the one that had loads of different Sega IP pulled into it. Hence, you've got music from Jet Set Radio, Golden Axe, Burning Rangers, Samba de Amigo. and various other Sega properties. It was a tricky, trappy question. Jet Set Radio was in it multiple times, episode 13. And yet the OST was not Jet Set Radio. Tricky. I like ones like that. Heroes of the Storm was the same kind of trick trap. I don't think that I apologize, but I accept your forgiveness. Absolute bell, how dare you. Right. Next question. Illegal Dad, here you go. Didn't miss it. It just came up way late in the pack. So, if you could only pick one console, not including PC, what would it be? You mean... So when you say not including PC, you mean I'm not allowed to have a PC on the side? It'd be the Dreamcast. Cop out. No, I'm not allowed to use the Dreamcast, am I? If I didn't have a PC and I had to choose between the PlayStation and the Xbox... Probably... That would be difficult. I understand Xbox for multiplayer games, but I don't play many multiplayer games. If you throw VR in, I think you're right, Joe. If I wasn't allowed any other VR headset, then it would definitely be the PlayStation for the VR. But that's, I think, cheating the question. Okay, no, Illegal Dad's accepted that as an answer. Yeah, if I didn't have PC... If I was literally only allowed to pick one of the devices, so this is like controversial answer. If I had a choice, there's consoles, and I'm only allowed one of them. No PC, or even throw it in the pile, but I'm only allowed one thing. It would be the Quest 3. So that I could do VR. VR wins out if I'm only allowed one thing. But if you want to, I know what you're really asking. You want to pit PlayStation against Xbox. That's the question, isn't it? Which one would I get if I could only have one and I have no other means to access that catalogue of games? Which fortunately isn't the world that I live in. So I'm ignoring value of games. So, because if I'm only getting one console, then I can probably afford the games now. So the whole Game Pass versus PlayStation Plus becomes less significant. And you just talk quality of catalogue and what games you can actually play. PlayStation's had the better of it this generation so far, but Xbox would usually be my preference of the two and will probably be stronger for the next few years. So it is a difficult question. Yeah, like so far, opening 3 years of these consoles' life cycle or whatever it's been, PlayStation's had more games, obviously the same third-party games, but it had more of the exclusives. But I do sort of expect that to flip the other way to an extent. So Xbox, see, I wasn't really saying that anything was bad in their episode 13. I wasn't putting down what the Xbox has had this year, because it's had a Hi-Fi Rush and Starfield and stuff like that, like, are worth playing. But I don't know, what have I liked? I really liked Horizon Forbidden West. I really liked all of the Spider-Mans. I really liked Demon Souls and Final Fantasy VII Integrate, and all of that stuff are things that I wouldn't want to miss out on. So it is a tricky one, but it is also not the world I actually live in. I do have a PC. I have got all of that kind of content, so all good. What about... So there's been a few answers in there. Kratos would go PlayStation. Replicant, you go Xbox. Tell me why. What are there, like, particular games on the Xbox that would sway you that way, or just generally prefer the system? See, episode 13 says it's Xbox and Game Pass, but I think... I don't know. Game Pass isn't, like, a deciding factor if I'm only getting one console, because I'm assuming that I then get the spare money from not having a PC and not having the other console to buy those day one games. No Switch in the conversation. No, illegal does Switch. It wouldn't be for me. Definitely not. And that's not to say there's no Switch games that I want, because there are Switch games that I want. Space Denizens, Saints and Sinners 1 and 2, Vertigo 1 and 2, but those are short, right? Vertigo 1 in particular, I haven't done it yet, but I gather it's pretty short. Saints and Sinners, I like those games a lot. I haven't finished them, so I can't comment on the length. I'm a massive fraud. But yes, I agree with you that hybrid games are the best bet for the VR industry to be sustainable and get big games, which is why it's so disappointing that Sony haven't announced any yet, relying on Capcom to do all that heavy lifting. Tom, maybe buying a half decent gaming PC is the most cost effective for the first time. So Replicant, you're going Xbox based on future prospects rather than what they've done in the last 3 years. Episode 13. Yeah, see, none of those games massively grip me though. I'm not putting them down. I enjoy playing Halo on the Sundays. Like, it is good it's my favourite multiplayer shooter at the moment, but I'm not big into multiplayer shooters at the moment. Grounded looks kind of fun, but I've not even played it, so it can't look that fun, and I've got it. I liked Sea of Thieves for a while, but they didn't develop it in a direction that I enjoyed, so it's a gorgeous game that I don't play, and Forza isn't available in VR, so Resident Evil 4 is going to be the best PSVR 2 game since Resident Evil 8. Yeah, probably. Did I read it? Did I read what, Isla? Can't swear in the Q&A box. Yeah, no one can swear in the Q&A box. YouTube will not allow it. It will just reject your question. Peter Morland, if it was all consoles, so far you would go Nintendo. Nothing to do with the last couple of generations. Yeah, if you go longer term, so hurry up, you're sleepy. Wait, you're the one that always tells me to prolong and delay. Now I have to hurry up. Oh, the pressure. Joe, you'd go Xbox all day long. Between the two systems, I probably, if you ignore content and just talk about how the systems are to use, I like Quick Resume. But there's very little between the consoles in terms of navigating them and using them for me. They're both really good. If you look at content, PlayStation's had the better of it so far, and I'm not sure that will be true going forwards, because Xbox do have an awful lot of studios and don't have all of this like weird stuff going on around delaying their GaaS games and struggling to promise what's coming in future. That's a really tricky question for me. I think I failed to answer it, and I'm glad that I'm not in that situation and I can play everything, because I really like all of the games. I'm very greedy and I want to play all of the games on all of the platforms. PT, you built a gaming PC last Christmas and you still drift to the X as your natural game machine. That's fair enough. In theory, my PC is way more powerful than my Xbox, and it's connected to the same screen, so there should be no reason for me to use the Xbox, but I still do. I've got certain games that just make sense. Like, if they don't go over and above like the power ceiling of the console, so if I was to play like Sea of Stars or something like that, then I'd play it on the console instead of the PC, because consoles are still a good experience. Kratos, Xbox has many studios before these past purchases and you're not impressed. Yeah, they've definitely not delivered with the studios that they already had. That's fair. It seems like it would be harder for them to fail than to succeed at this point, though. Right? They've got so many studios that have talent already innately there and available that someone will be deliberately sabotaging them for them to continue to flop. So I think they'll be all right going forward. Question got me back on topic. Did it? I don't know. Was I off topic? Am I ever off topic? Is there ever a topic? I don't know. Right. Isla asked, Joe asked, what is this ducking soundtrack? But it won't let me click it. We've done that. Did I miss mine, Illegal Dad? We didn't miss yours. It has been done. It was such a simple question in theory, and yet it stumped me. But I am like so genuine in saying that I like both, and people don't seem to understand that that's possible. I wouldn't want to miss out on either platform. So episode 13, what the fuck? I hope you get stuck in pancake world forever. I missed the mean words. Have you gone back and caught them and then come back all bitter and twisted? They weren't mean words, they were fine. Don't get me stuck in pancake world forever. Oh, you haven't gone back. Good, good, good. Don't do it. So Tom, they've really underdelivered. You think it's just taking on too much than being incompetent though? Maybe. It is going to get better for sure, like it has to. So, Sony, replicate, you're looking at the specs of the OLED Steam Deck. It's a 6nm APU. The LCD Steam Deck is 7nm APU. Not sure which is better. Lower number is better, but it's not a significant difference, Tony. Like, it can be. Lower number of nanometers usually means more power efficiency, and if they engineer it such, then that more power efficiency can turn into more power. But I don't think they're shooting for more power on the Steam Deck. I think they're just going for efficiency, so you'll get a little bit more battery life out of it. And it should run games about the same. Definitely, they're not selling it as a big like power upgrade. They're just selling it as a nicer screen and better Wi-Fi. And I would take their word for it on that one. Isla, if you could grow a beard, it would be down to your knees. Good to know. Not sure where that came from, but good to know. Jay, you were glad to be back on the Xbox controller after Spidey 2. I like both controllers. I wish I had the DualSense Edge that has the paddles on the back for a fair comparison. I do quite want to play, if it says anything about the controllers, I do quite want to play Returnal on the PC with the Xbox controller rather than the PlayStation one. But it is mostly just because the paddles and not because of anything like any other detail. I hated the PlayStation controllers prior. PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 3, those controllers were horrible, but this one's fine. And the Xbox ones have been fine for a long time. Like way back to the Xbox 360, I found those comfortable. So good times, good times. You're planning to play Cities Skylines 2 on the PC. 3's a long way off. And yeah, I'm quite interested in... I've had a weird craving to get into some strategy kind of games lately. Or not necessarily Cities, but things of that ilk. Maybe that one. Time though, eh? Where do you find the time? Edge controller might be 150 quid on Black Friday. I don't have 150 quid on Black Friday, and I've got so many things that I want to buy. Read the question, nerd. Oh, Wayne asked, what do you use for your beard? You're doing the no shave November and it's killing you. You want to shave it off already. What do I use for my beard? I don't really use anything for my beard. I trim it every now and again, but I'm getting bored of that as well. Don't know. I'm not doing a no shave November. I might get rid of it entirely to be stubborn. But I'm not like I'm not beard oils and products kind of person because it's not long enough for that. Oh, actually, no, I did. I have beard oils, and then my wife said, you're not allowed to grow it long. I don't like it. That's for old people, she said. So, I don't know. She's in control. If you hate the scratching, so mine's not long enough to be scratchy, Connor, or it's at the in-betweeny lengths, like where it's not scratchy anymore. Ghost signal is dope. Good. Brush it and use oil. See, there's way more smart, like, beard experts around than me. Your son got you to grow it for a month. Fair enough. Your beard is a bit longer than me. I'm like, it makes sense because I think you're about an inch taller than I am. So if your beard is full length down to the floor, then maybe it is longer than I am. Your beard is getting grey, mine too. I've got like slightly flattering lighting, but there's a fair amount of grey in there. All the more reason to get rid of it, or not, I don't know. Never know like what to do with the, like where to stop it if I do get rid of it. It's the main reason I've still got it. It's been a long time since I've had a bald face. Do I understand your beard comment? I do, Isla. It was very fitting in context, relevant to the discussion. Well done, you. Loving the beard chat. Sorry, Illegal Dad was so happy to get to steer it back onto console chat, and then it's been derailed already. Kratos, you trimmed yours 3 weeks ago, and it's a foot long now. How short was it after you trimmed it? Right. You can't wait for the grey to take over the ginger in your beard. Something to look forward to. Good. Okay, episode 13. Please rate Starfield out of 100 pancakes, then add a secondary rating of 1 to 27 ducks. So something like 88 pancakes to 1 duck. Episode 13. I still haven't played it enough to give it a fair rating. I think from what I gather, I'm going to need to play it multiple times before it's even possible to give it a fair review score. So as I'm waiting for the HDR patch, I know you don't believe, I know it's a running joke, and I know that you don't believe that the HDR is broken, but I am waiting for the HDR patch before resuming my Starfield playthrough. Foot now, bottom of the neck, made it look like 2 feet. Good. Halo does not have auto lock on. Not auto lock on, auto aim, sticky aim. Sticky aim on the assault rifle and some of the other weapons. Kitty Zombies, did he read the question? Yeah, I've read this question. Next one, please. So much auto aim in Halo. So much auto aim. Can almost use the assault rifle with your eyes closed and still get a decent accuracy. My controller is covered in helpful finger jam. Good, good. Aim assist, that's what they call it. Loads of it. The internet says there's loads of it. Okay. Should be pretty high up the scoreboard tomorrow. Tomorrow? What's tomorrow? You mean Sunday? Maybe I might go keyboard and mouse. Replicant, Embracer is falling apart. Time for Phil to get his checkbook out. I hope Xbox grab a few of their studios to protect their future. Yeah, that sucks. The Lars fella, this previous COO that's kind of responsible for all the problems there and all of the overspending, has left and moved on and said he thinks Embracer's got a great future and he's moving on to other projects. And they are in freefall. The Free Radical team that was supposed to be bringing back Time Splitters are looking like they are cut and gone, which is sad. So hopefully someone, whether they rescue the people or just the studio or just the people from it, I don't really care if Time Splitters comes back or not, but those people didn't deserve to get shafted like that. And obviously Crystal Dynamics and Eidos are massively talented, so you hope that they land in a good home. Gearbox, I think, are strong enough to break off from Embracer and go solo, so I don't mind if they get acquired or not. But yeah, my face has aim assist. Interesting. I'm going to take that as a compliment, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Episode 13. Sunday's Uno and Monopoly. Sunday, I don't know, I guess we'll stick to the usual because I missed last one, so there'll probably be more racing and more Halo. Bry's been desperate for Among Us, so if we could sneak one of those in, then that might satisfy him for a while. But I'm always up for suggestions on what to play. I'm sure there are some other things that were relevant and on the list. I still want to play Gears 5. I need some people to play that with me. Isla's going to sleep immediately. Let's get this last question done. Replicant, Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer coming soon. Excited? Question mark. I actually am, even though I'm not a big Grand Theft Auto person. but Rockstar consistently like exceed the boundaries. They push the boundaries and exceed them and break through them and deliver things beyond what we're seeing elsewhere in the market. Typically in the past they've done that, and if they still have that level of talent, I think they're going to show us some remarkable stuff, and that's exciting. Yes, even if I don't ever end up playing the game, it's still exciting to see what they can do. Wait, where's your last question? I'm not sure, Connor. That's if it doesn't come up, then you'll have to ask it again. I've not skipped any as far as I'm aware. Episode 13. Please name each of the ducks outside of your house. I want their names for next Thursday. Thanks. I'll try episode 13, but they do all look the same. Like there's 2 varieties. 3 varieties of duck out there. So I might only be able to name like... I'll bring you 3 names, even though there's at least 20 ducks. Tom, should I have one last rum? You don't need my encouragement. It depends if you're talking about like what quantity of rum are we talking here, because if one last rum is like you're going to crack open a bottle and get through it, I'm actually probably going to say no. But if you just need another drink, have at it, enjoy. I don't want to be responsible for like Tom's alcohol poisoning, but if it's a reasonable quantity of rum, then yeah, go for it. Right, next. Ever tried emulation on a Series console? I haven't, Joe. I haven't. I've barely emulated anything on the PC. I emulated the Sega Saturn on the PC, and I set up emulation for the Dreamcast, but then never really got around to using it. My intention was to do a streaming series called the Retronomicon, where I would play retro games, but it turns out there's just too many games to play in too little time, so I haven't done it yet. Do I think the Grand Theft Auto 6 will have microtransactions in single player, and do I think that Rockstar will charge more than $70 for the standard edition? Tricky questions, Connor. I'm gonna go with I really hope that they don't have microtransactions in the single player, but I can definitely see it happen. I can see it not having a true single player, as in it will have a single player campaign, but I can see it being connected and forcing ways for you to spend money. I don't know, they've spent billions on it, haven't they? They can do us a proper game and make their money on the side with a dirty online mode. I'm sure that Take-Two themselves are insisting that the online mode is the primary focus of development. And will they charge more? Yeah, they'll charge more. Yeah, they'll charge more because they can. Questions are gone. That's Isla saying absolutely no more. Nobody's allowed to ask any more questions because she needs to go to sleep immediately. Tom, yes, have another drink, even though it is the end. We must finish now. So, what are my thoughts on the future of technology and its impact on society? Joe is causing trouble, and I like it. Let's do it. Let's start a whole nother conversation. In fact, no, we won't. We're going to go there. It's all over. So, once again, thank you all of the people that come along and watch, the people that talked and the people that haven't, and anyone watching it afterwards. It is much appreciated. Tomorrow, I don't know if there's anything happening tomorrow or not, so don't hold your breath. Hopefully if anything does happen, YouTube will tell you about it, but I don't know. Saturday should have Go Live. On Sunday we'll have the multiplayer stuff this week. So have all of the games downloaded and ready to go. And I will see you all on some of that stuff. And that's still 69th episode. Still don't have a good outro for the show. Oh well.
Asa, Game On Daily.